Alright, next section 1.6 deals with subtracting integers, and your I can statement should say I can change subtraction problems into addition problems and follow the rules for addition. Okay, so subtracting integers is kind of like a trick question because really we're going to use the rules for addition as we do this. Alright, so when we look at this problem, we have -6. Sorry about that, my pen wasn't writing. -6 minus 8. So the idea of leave, change, change is we're going to leave the first piece alone. Alright, we're going to change the operation. So leave is going to tell me to leave the first piece alone. Change is referring to the operation. So the subtraction here is going to become addition. And then the second change, alright, is for the sign of this number. Now really, I wouldn't do leave, change, change with this particular problem because we would look at this and just say that same sign, add, keep the sign. But eventually you'll get to that point too. Alright, we look at this, so when we do leave, change, change, what it becomes is -6 plus -8. And then from there, we have our rules for addition. Same sign, add, keep the number. Different sign, subtract, take the sign of larger number. So, looking at example 1, we want to do, without doing any work, we want to state whether it's going to be positive or negative, just like we did yesterday. Alright, so when we look at A, I have what I would call same sign. They're both negative numbers. So I know this is going to be negative. When I add two negatives together, my answer is negative. When we do leave, change, change, we really want to do it for what we call double-signed problems. That's when we have signs back to back with no number in between. Like this is a double-signed problem. That's a double-signed problem. That's a double-signed problem because again, you see two signs in a row. This, not, I wouldn't consider that double-signed. This, yes. This, no. This, yes. Okay, so on all the ones where you see green dots, I'm going to do leave, change, change on. Alright, so going back to this, alright, without doing any work, well, this is going to become a plus sign. Alright, so both positive, answer is positive. Again, this is going to become a plus sign and both positive. Or another way of looking at it, and I know it says don't do any work, but so I can explain myself better, that becomes a plus, that becomes a positive. There you see they're both positive. Alright, looking at the last one, this is a plus sign. I have -10, positive 30. 30 is bigger than 10. 30 is positive. This answer is going to be positive. Alright, example 2 asks you to find each difference. And then it says, what does difference mean? Alright, that is the answer in subtraction. I don't know if I'm going to have the room. I want to make sure it stays on there, right? So it's the answer in subtraction. Here we go. First problem. Again, I don't consider this double sign, so I would just say go ahead and say that these have the same sign. So I'm going to add the numbers and keep the sign. If you want to do leave, change, change, it's going to look like this. Alright, let me rewrite it. Leave that alone, change this, and make that negative. And what you end up with is the same exact answer. Alright? Looking at B, I'm subtracting a negative, so really what I'm going to do, I'm going to make what we call a mega plus. Alright, learned that from a student a few years ago named Ruben. We called it the Ruben mega plus. Alright, a negative and a negative, after you do leave, change, change, we do leave, change, change. They're both positives. Alright, and -4 and +4 is of course 0. The next one, again, I would not do leave, change, change on this. I would say, alright, this is positive, this is negative. Alright, so I'm going to subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. When we say bigger, we're talking absolute values. 10 is bigger than 8, and the 10 is negative. Alright, but you may be thinking, wait a second, that's a subtraction sign, not a negative sign. My argument is going to be subtraction and negative is the same exact thing. Okay? Learn how to read it correctly, and you'll know when to say negative and know when to say subtraction. Alright, or minus. Alright, just like in A here, I would consider this, I know it's subtraction, but I look at that as a negative sign in front of the 10. Same sign, add, keep the sign. If that's confusing to you, well then just go ahead and do leave, change, change. Alright, I have 8 plus -10, and you end up with the same answer. Alright? Last one, example D here. minus a negative once again. We're going to make that the mega plus. These are both positive. Easy answer 8. Alright, last set of examples here. Moving on to the smaller word problems here. We're asked to write a numerical expression, then find the difference. So, we have a plane that's up in the air 1,500 feet. And it goes down to 1,200 feet. Okay, it should say, and it goes down 1,200 feet. That's a typo. Alright, so, pretty simple here. Write a numerical expression. I am going to say, let's go ahead and include the units on this. So 1,500 feet minus 1,200 feet is going to leave this plane up above the ground 300 feet. Hopefully this plane's coming in for a landing and not something else. Alright, moving on to example B. We have a diver is 15 feet below the surface of the water. If she dives down another 22 feet, how far down is she? Okay, so she's already 15 feet below. She's going to go down another 22 feet. And again, I'm going to go ahead and throw my units in here. Alright, these numbers do have meanings, so it's important to state that meaning. Alright, now again, I wouldn't consider this a double sign problem, so I would just say that these have the same sign. They're both negative. So I'm going to add my two numbers together. And I'm going to keep my sign. Alright. Now, another way you could do it again is do leave, change, change, and then you follow the same rules. Alright, so we're 37 feet. Alright, she's at negative 37 feet. That's one way of saying it, or you could say she's just 37 feet down. Okay, both ways are kind of hinting at the same thing. She's underwater. Alright? So, here we go. We're at the end. Remember, this is something you have to do if you want credit for your homework. Very simple. After watching this video, I can. You could say something like change subtraction into addition and follow the rules for addition. If you're struggling with something, please write that down and circle, or write down, not circle, write down whichever one of these will work for you. See you tomorrow in class.